have Alzheimer's disease, seriously affecting and changing not only their own lives, but the lives of their caregivers and family. The good news is that there are many options available to help care for people with Alzheimer's. Yet in my law practice, I continue to see families who have many questions on how to go about finding these resources.
Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to meet a dedicated wife, Gloria Richmond, who has seen it all as her husband David continues to regress in his battle with Alzheimer's. Now, Gloria made a very difficult decision of placing David in a nursing facility only after her valiant struggle, though, to care for him at home herself. But before that, Vincent, how about telling us a little bit about our first guest, who I know that you know very well?
Absolutely. Thanks, Kim. It's a privilege to introduce Mary Ann Malik Ragona, Executive Director and CEO of the Alzheimer's Association Long Island Chapter. She's a tireless advocate for people with Alzheimer's and their families. She and her staff are an outstanding resource for families like the Richmonds and others.
Thank you for joining us today, Mary Ann. You are truly one of the leaders in the community when it comes to Alzheimer's. I know that you've been doing this for a long time. And before we speak with Gloria, can you give us a capsule of what you see every day at the Alzheimer's Association with the people that you talk to?
A typical day at the office is, in fact, taking numbers of phone calls from families who have now reached out to us because they've finally been able to find us and learn about what we can do to help them as a family.
And what is Alzheimer's? For people that, I mean, so many people say, oh, it's just an old person disease. What is Alzheimer's?
Alzheimer's is a very serious disease. It's a progressive disease where the brain cells are destroyed, and it lasts a very long time. In some cases, it can last for as long as 20 years. Has a huge impact on the individual. It has an even bigger impact on the families trying to care for that individual.
Who does it affect? We're seeing it younger and younger. It's not the old people's disease, as most people call it.
It can affect just about anybody. We do see a prevalence in female over male. We do see a prevalence in the Latin American population, in the Latino population, in the African American population. But you're right, we're seeing it much younger, and that's becoming a real issue for all of us that we're going to need to address in the very near future.
And that's something we will see a little bit later when we meet Gloria Richmond and her husband. It was an unfortunate disease that hit him very young from what comparatively other people see. Now, what's going on in research? I know there are some exciting advances. There's things we talk about, stem cell research, lots of things going on. What's going on with research?
Well, from our perspective, the research is focused on this new process that they're looking at. It's the distribution of beta amyloid protein. They've learned through research that there are certain genes that could in fact be a precursor, which is good news, because then we might be in a position to be able to identify it, this disease at an earlier stage, and keep it in that stage for much longer periods of time.
Can we get rid of the disease?
Well, that's our hope. I mean, our mission is to find a cure for Alzheimer's disease so that someday there is a world without Alzheimer's disease.
What about preventing the disease? Is there something that we can do to keep our minds, away from Alzheimer's?
We have a Maintain Your Brain program, and that was developed because of the work that the researchers are doing. The researchers do believe that there's a correlation between heart disease and brain disease. And so what we do to keep our heart healthy will probably work very well to keep our brain healthy. And so we look at things like nutrition, we look at things, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, obesity, diabetes, things of that nature, that we believe if people take better care of themselves, that they could one day help to prevent themselves from getting Alzheimer's.
That dreaded eat right and exercise. It just can't.
Socialization, a very key component to this process, keeping mentally active at all times. Unfortunately for us, all too often we see, particularly in the senior population, where people are isolated. They're home, they're alone, they're not socially active, and that in itself adds to the problem.
Mary Ann, talk to us about what the options are for families who are coping with this for their loved one.
Well, the very first option is certainly our association, because the first thing that we want to do is put them in touch with our care consultant. Our care consultant is a geriatric care manager, and she will be able to make a determination as to whether or not an appropriate diagnosis has been given. And then, if that hasn't happened, we can direct the family to an appropriate physician who will be able to make that diagnosis. Then once we have the diagnosis, we don't go away. We stay with the family throughout the entire disease process, and we will work with them to develop a long-term care plan and provide them with the resources that they need to help them get through this.
Now, I know there are support groups that are sponsored by the Alzheimer's Association Long Island chapter. How do they work, and give us a sense of why people should get involved in a support program?
We have a number of support groups throughout Nassau and Suffolk counties. We have about 25 support groups running currently, and we also have groups that are out on the East End as well now, because we're starting to focus a lot of work on the East End where there's a lack of care. But they're caregiver support groups, and family members come together as a group and discuss with each other the things that they're seeing on a day-to-day basis. And we absolutely encourage families to participate in a caregiver support group. The new dynamics that we're looking at now is to develop early stage and early onset, which is under the age of 65, support groups for individuals who have Alzheimer's disease, and that's a new focus that we're working on at the chapter.
You mentioned caregivers. How tough is it for caregivers sometimes when they are the sole caregiver for somebody, as we'll see with Gloria and how difficult her decision was? How difficult is it? How important is it to have a support group for someone?
It is so important for families to reach out for help. You can't do this alone. This is not something you can do alone. It takes all of your time and effort, particularly as the disease progresses. We have an issue with wandering with this disease, and so an individual with this disease has to be watched 24/7. And for a caregiver, that means absolutely no time for themselves. And they do need help. They need respite care. They need support groups. They need anything that we could possibly give for them.
Thank you, Mary Ann, for being on Family Comes First. For more information on the Alzheimer's Association Long Island chapter, you can visit their website at www.alz.org/Long Island. A great resource.
Absolutely a great resource. And before we meet Gloria Richmond and the Richmond family, we're going to take a quick break.
At Vincent J. Russo and Associates, our experience is your protection.
Life is getting more complicated with issues like the high cost of long-term care, Medicaid eligibility, accessing home care, and the protection of your life savings.
The staff is terrific. I had some problems with the real estate warranty deed in another state, and the legal assistant went out of her way to help me to get what I needed.
If I had to think of one thing that really would summarize the whole experience with Mr. Russo and his team, it would be peace of mind.
Because we've set everything up, I can concentrate on what's most important, the good and welfare of the people I love, and know that everything's in place.
Long-term care can be costly. At my law firm, we will provide you with solutions.
Please contact any of the following offices to schedule a consultation by phone or in person. We know the options. We can help.
Welcome to our family room, where we will meet Gloria Richmond, wife of David Richmond, who has been battling Alzheimer's for several years and has been in a nursing home since 2004. Thank you for joining us, Gloria, on behalf of Kim and myself.
Thank you for having me here.
I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us and to share your story. Let me first ask, what was life like with David before Alzheimer's?
Fun, loving, caring, happy-go-lucky. He was a great companion and a great husband.
And the two of you are very close. You've always been very close.
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds like you have a very loving relationship. And he was so young when you first realized that there was something just not right. Share with us when you first detected that he might have a condition like Alzheimer's.
When his driving started to change and his accounting, doing checks, I noticed a lot of mistakes. And then also not remembering people that he had known for so long.
It must have happened over a period of time, I would think, that it wasn't so obvious right away that maybe
No,
something...
this was going on for a number of years.
A number of years. How did you know that you should call the Alzheimer's Association of Long Island? How did you connect?
A family member who has been my support, who calls every day and hasn't stopped yet at all. And she was able to give me information, and I followed up on this.
How important is it to have somebody in your life like that, the person to support you, that helped you, lead you in the right direction?
A great support and a loving family member of my family, and it made me feel good that I had this, and I was able to carry on the help that I needed to give to my husband.
Now, you had him home for a number of years.
Yes.
How long did you have him?
I had him actually from the day that I married him to the time that he went into the nursing home, and in that period of time he was showing signs of this disease. I accompanied him to the study while I lived in the city, which was where I got the help.
The study being the meeting with the Alzheimer's Association.
And Mount Sinai Hospital, which was the study that he was on.
So he went into the nursing home when he was around 64 years of age?
Yes.
Which is so young. And so what you're saying is that he had Alzheimer's in his late 40s.
Yes, definitely.
Most people just don't know that happens.
And I, as his wife, was not aware until he went on that study. It was more and more obvious that every time we went there, and it was every couple of months, every 3 months that we went to the study.
And how was it for David to find out so young? Did he believe that? Was it difficult for him to say, Alzheimer's, I'm only in my 40s?
He was upset.
I'm sure.
He was still on the job at the time, and he was making mistakes, and he couldn't understand why. And his co-workers were making fun of him because he was making mistakes.
Well, he took steps, and you took steps to get help.
Yes.
And I'd like to hear in your own words, why are you sharing this story with us? Why is this important to you?
The reason for me sharing this is because I believe truly in my heart that there may be someone out there that will need guidance and help in dealing with their loved one. And I had to go and search for this and get the help to help my husband, David.
And there's so many different organizations, too. You also were part of another organization, JASA, is that correct? The Jewish Association?
They came into play when I went to a support group, which was on the listing for Alzheimer's from the association. And I seeked calling. I called and I got the help. A counselor came to my home. And this is a great organization in dealing with caretakers and the stress involved of a disease so cruel.
Let's take a moment now for a reflection on family by Monsignor McNamara.
I'm Monsignor Jim McNamara, and I invite you to join me in this reflection. When Jesus was asked what is the greatest commandment, he said, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your mind and your heart and your soul, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself." Jesus said there was one commandment. He didn't say choose God or choose your neighbor in love. He didn't say you could say, "I love God, it's only people I can't stand." And so love requires us to love without limits. This can be very challenging, especially when a family faces an illness like Alzheimer's disease. They see the person in front of them fading away. They see the person they knew becoming different or irritable, and so they need to reach out. And often they can't do that alone. Aren't we fortunate to have such organizations on Long Island in order to put families first?
Gloria, please share with us what a typical day is like for you and David.
Well, getting up in the morning, thinking about how I'm going to find him and how I'm going to make his day as pleasant as possible at the nursing home. I enjoy seeing him at the stage he's in because he still is aware of my presence there.
How much time will you spend on a typical day?
A full day.
A full day.
Lunch, I help him. I try to feed him. And at dinner. And I work with him with activities that I bring in. And some I leave in his room. And it's just great to be there.
Yeah, you're spending quality time with him.
Yes.
Do you see a lot of
makes me
families
feel good.
that are doing that? A lot of families are there doing the same thing? Or are you kind of among the...
No, I haven't, and I've been questioned on that. And they all know my feelings, the nursing home. And they really give me an applause when I come in. If I'm out for a few days, if I'm sick or whatever's going on, they will ask me, what happened yesterday? You couldn't make it? Because they see how devoted I am to David.
And does David know that? Does he?
I believe he does. And he follows me with his eyes, and that makes me feel good. He cannot speak anymore. He is aware, I believe, of my presence. I want to believe that. I believe that he does.
How do you keep so positive? How does your faith help you?
Yes, it does. It really has. And the love that I feel for him and the strength that I get from his response when he looks at me, and my love of my face, and how it has helped me a great deal in this ordeal.
Sure, it must be a challenge every day.
Every day is a challenge. And I pray that when I go in that I see him okay and that the nursing home is doing what they have to do for him.
Right. How do you find the services that are provided at the nursing home?
Adequate. There's been times when there's been little small issues, but they've been corrected.
Now, Gloria, I'm sure it was a very difficult decision. A lot of emotions go through your mind when you had to make that decision to put your husband in the nursing facility.
Yes, it was. It was terrifying, and I was weary about making this move, but I felt that at the end that I had to do this, that I didn't want him hurting himself or hurting me if he had stayed home, and I couldn't have dealt with that.
We were able to get a copy of the film Away From Her, starring Julie Christie, which she was nominated for an Academy Award for. She didn't quite win. We were all rooting for her, but the story is about the pains and struggles of a husband watching his wife suffer from the disease, his decision of placing her in a nursing facility, and his undying love and dedication to making her happy. And here's a short clip from the movie Away From Her.
I was going to go for a ski, but I thought I shouldn't chance it. What with the Alzheimer's and all. What are these, Grant?
Those are the documents you're supposed to sign if you decide to go to Meadow Lake.
That is exactly what I have decided. You were to go and sign these and leave them there.
I wouldn't be allowed to visit you for 30 days.
30 days isn't such a long time after 44 years.
I don't think I like the place.
I don't think we should be looking for something we like, Grant. I don't think we'll ever find that. I think all we can aspire to in this situation is a little bit of grace.
Now, Gloria, obviously that's Hollywood's version of what goes on, but it seemed very poignant. Was it what you kind of went through?
In many ways, yes. I can relate to the feelings that her husband had at the time, and the decision making.
Very tough.
Yes, it is.
And it seems like you're on your own making it.
Yes,
I'm sure.
Exactly. It was, and it takes a part of you It takes a part of you, of your heart, of your love for this person.
Gloria, we know how important planning is. Were you ready for this, and did you have any plans, and what steps did you take to help?
I did. I did it at the beginning, before David was placed.
And what were the kinds of things that you felt you needed to do?
The caretaker, the decision-making.
Right, the durable power of attorney and a healthcare proxy.
Right. And I did get the help from the lawyer.
So that allowed you to be in position to make decisions for a time when David unfortunately wouldn't be able to.
Exactly.
And then paying for care is so expensive.
Very expensive.
And so did you implement any Medicaid planning?
Yes.
Otherwise you'd be wiped out.
Yes, exactly. And we did that.
Great. So an elder law attorney helped you with that?
Definitely.
Fantastic.
And if it hadn't, we would have been lost without this help.
By sharing this story with us, you seem like you have a passion and you're on a mission. Well, tell us about your mission.
I want people to know that this disease is so devastating and that they should get all the information that is needed to make the decisions, getting involved with the Alzheimer's Association, going online, speaking to family members to be aware, and to, if you need the help, reach out to them.
Gloria, does it help to know that there are other people that have gone through what you've gone through, so that you're not alone, you're not the only person out there that is dealing with this?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I feel that I'm not the only one. And the stories I've heard have been very touching. And hopefully, we hope that it will help others by speaking on this program today.
Gloria, thank you so much for sharing your story today with us.
Thank you for having me here today.
It's been a real privilege.
And the same is for myself.
And now we'll take a break on Family Comes First. At Vincent J. Russo and Associates, our experience is your protection.
Life is getting more complicated with issues like the high cost of long-term care, Medicaid eligibility, accessing home care, and the protection of your life savings.
The staff is terrific. I had some problems with the real estate warranty deed in another state, and the legal assistant went out of her way to help me to get what I needed.
If I had to think of one thing that really would summarize the whole experience with Mr. Russo and his team, it would be peace of mind.
Because we've set everything up, I can concentrate on what's most important, the good and welfare of the people I love, and know that everything's in place.
Long-term care can be costly. At my law firm, we will provide you with solutions.
Please contact any of the following offices to schedule a consultation by phone or in person. We know the options. We can help.
Alzheimer's is a devastating, debilitating disease, but that does not change the vitally important place of family. Even as a loved one slowly becomes a shadow of himself or herself, it is the face, the hand, the hug of a family member that can cast love and light on the dark and the unknown.
And the truth is, Kim, there are no easy answers. The process is a difficult one from the start. And that includes the research that must be done in order to implement the best plan possible for a loved one with Alzheimer's. That research often includes several professional resources that are more available than ever, like the Alzheimer's Association Long Island chapter, like the elder law attorney who can assist the family in implementing a plan for ongoing decision-making, asset protection, and Medicaid planning. Caregivers as well must assess their own situations and options and seek counsel with a professional. Every family situation is different, and there is no one solution that works for everyone.
Well, I certainly learned a great deal from all of our guests, and I'm sure there are hundreds of viewers out there who feel exactly the same way. One thing is certain, on a daily basis, families are faced with significant challenges in caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's. It's comforting to know, though, that there's help out there for all of you who need it. If you have any questions or would like more information, please visit www.alz.org/Long Island, as well as www.vjrussolaw.com. Have a great day, Vincent.
Have a great day, Kim. And thank you for joining us. And remember, family truly does come first.
My son Peter take care very well my husband and me.
Kiara and I are very grateful to be able to tell our story.
It's important to get help. It happened to me.
And we hope that telling my story has an impact on somebody watching.
Family Comes First provides an opportunity for families to share their stories, which will inspire and how to meet the challenges in day-to-day life.
Welcome, everyone, to Family Comes First. I'm Kim Burke.
And I'm Vincent J. Russo.
And I know today's topic about special needs is very near and dear to your heart, Vincent.
Absolutely. My family, we were touched by an angel when Teresa was born back in 1986. And she had significant challenges in her life, but she taught us what life was all about. And my wife, Susan, we benefited so much from her presence. She did so much that was unexpected. She laughed like any other child. She cried like any other child. And it was very special to us to have her with us. Unfortunately, she passed away when she was 5.5. Her systems gave out, but she was a gift from God.
And they told you she would never smile or laugh or do those things.
That's right.
And she did all of those things.
That's right.
Thank you for sharing Teresa with us. I know she's a beautiful little girl. We've had lots of pictures for you to see, and we'll have a few in just a few minutes. And thank you for the good work for the Teresa Foundation that was created in her name as well.
Well, you know, it's all about giving. And, you know, what is meaningful in life is the difference that people can make for others.
And I'm sure when it comes to special needs, any kind of family member, it's very difficult. There's a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of fear, a lot of unknowns for every person.
Sure. And today we offer hope. There are so many resources available in the community for children like Teresa.
Absolutely, and that's why we have Kurt Murgo with us. Our first guest, the Assistant Principal of the Children's Learning Center at United Cerebral Palsy of Nassau County. It's in Roosevelt. Welcome, Kurt. It's fantastic to have you with us today.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Hi, Kurt. We've had a great relationship through the years. Kurt was Teresa's teacher when she was just a little one.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure. Thanks.
And today, Vincent and I are going to be introduced to the mother of a very unique and remarkable young lady. Her name is Kiara. She has cerebral palsy. She has been a student at UCPN since she was 3 years old. Now, before speaking with Kiara's mom, we'll move over to the family room for that, but we'd like to know a little bit more about you, Kurt, about the Children's Learning Center and UCPN, the role it's played in Kiara's life as well. What is the Children's Learning Center?
I'm glad you asked that. The Children's Learning Center is a school that serves children as young as 2 years old up to 21 years old. We have 3 different programs, an EI program for 2 to 3-year-olds, our preschool program for children till 5, and then our school-age program. We have approximately 240 children with different needs. We have some kids running through the halls talking about SpongeBob and other kids.
Yeah, what's a day like at the center?
It's a lot of fun. There was a photo that was given to me by Pat that she found of Teresa and I. And as you look at the photo, you'll see Teresa was smiling. And when I think of a day at the Children's Learning Center, we make sure that our kids are happy. We make sure that they're safe, that they feel comfortable. And that's what jumps out at me. We certainly have